Hey everybody, today we're going to create a horizontal recycler view in Android Studio 3.0. So just to show you what we're going to build instead, like usually recycler views go up and down, they're vertical. But in this way we're going to do a horizontal recycler view. So look at this, look how it scrolls that way. So you might have noticed this in like Google Play or some other popular apps where you're browsing through the store, you can scroll this way. So scroll left to right. So this is basically what a horizontal recycler view is. And you're seeing two of them. There's one up top here, and there's one down here in the middle, or not in the middle, but below it. This is done using RecyclerView. So we're going to build this inside Android Studio, so let's get started. I have the new screen dialog here. I'm going to go to next, next. Oh, really important. Make sure you check include Kotlin support here. Make sure that's checked. So next, next, we'll do basic activity, next, finish, and that'll open up Android Studio with our project. So this is all going to be done in Kotlin, but first we have some XML layouts to design, or not to design. We're just going to get something basic together here. So if I switch between design and text view at the bottom there, you can see that's what it looks like right now. Let's go ahead and change this. Let's make this from a text view to a recycler view. I'm going to change both the width and height to 0 dp. And by the way, if you double click something and you want to select the next instance of it on a Mac, do Control-G, and then you can type two things at the same time. So yeah, you can. It's really cool. If you want them to be the same, you know, match, parent, you can do that, or you can do 0 dp. So that's a little shortcut you can do. I'm also using Command S to save, Option Command L to format the code. So say I have a bunch of space there and I have a bunch of tab overs over there. If I do Option Command L, that'll format everything in a way that I like. So also we can get rid of this text screen here, and we'll call this an ID of RecyclerView. Save that and reformat it. And if I go to the design view at the bottom, you can see there's our list. So this is great. This is our XML layout. I'm going to make that a little bit smaller. I'm going to open up my app, go inside Java, and inside of here, well, we have it open here, so I'm going to just get rid of that. So we have our main Kotlin, our main activity.Kotlin, and a lot of this code we don't need. I'm just going to delete because we don't need it. Now let's get started. Okay, so our recycler view. Since in our, and if I go back to it, in our layout, we have this ID of recycler view there, and you'll notice it's right over here. So it's in I'm in Android mode there, under app, resources, layouts, and you have my ContentMain here. And you can see that we gave it an ID of recycler view. So inside of our Kotlin activity, we can just reference that directly. So RecyclerView.LayoutManager equals LinearLayoutManager. This. And then we have, what's really important here is, actually we'll just do it vertical for right now. So now let's do this. RecyclerView.adapter equals user. I will call this media adapt. I will call it media. Or we'll call it post adapter for now. So now that's not created yet for us, but just to get some data inside of the recycler view, like if you noticed back in this one, I had just some random data in there. Just to generate some random data, I'm going to generate a bunch of sample records. So just tons of little. We'll create 100 of those. So let's do this. Val, we'll call this movies. And this type array list of string equals array list, and there we go. Now for the cool part, we can generate however many we want. So we'll do for I in 100, and it'll execute this line right here 100 times. It'll go from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way up to 100. So movies are. Yeah, let's call this posts, and then just the same add. You can add elements. So we'll call this movie, or we'll call this post number, and then we'll do I. So instead of having to do something like that, we can just reference the $sign there, and then the I, and the I is right there. So that's pretty cool. That's new to Kotlin. That's what you have in Kotlin. So let's also pass the posts. So we have a post there, we create an array list of them. It's a list of strings, and so a string is just some text, and we'll pass it inside of here. So let's do posts, and there we go. So now that's all good. Now we have posts adapter. We need to create that. So let's go over here. I'm going to do Command N, type Kotlin, and we'll call this, what do we call it? Posts adapter tab C. That'll make a class. Enter. And then we can do, I'm going to get rid of the Java docs at the top because we don't need them. And we're going to, what we're going to do is we're going to accept. So if we go back with Command Tab, you can see we take posts. So we can say, hey, you know, val posts array list string, and there we go. Now this needs to extend something, but the way you do it in Java is with extends, and you could do RecyclerView. But in Kotlin, you don't do that anymore. What you do instead is that. So extends RecyclerView.adapter, and then we'll call this posts adapter.viewHolder. So there we go. So we're getting a lot of errors, and what we need to do is put our mouse over them and just click somewhere on it and do on a Mac do Option Enter and hit Enter again, and then Shift down arrow, or you can just select all of those and click OK. So now we have that. That generates a lot of code for us, which is nice, but we still are getting some errors. So let's click somewhere on the error where it's red underlined and do Option Enter. What we need to do is we need to do that. Okay, cool. So what we need to do, put our mouse over there and do Option Enter, Enter, and there's our class. Now this class needs to accept item view, and this needs to extend RecyclerView.viewHolder. So there we go. That's getting an error. We need to pass it item view. So what we're getting right there, we're basically using it right there. So that's kind of how that works. So let's go ahead and do something. We're going to need, if you notice back at this app, each one of those squares there, like that one, that square, they each have their own layout. So let's go to the layout folder, and I'm going to do Command N layout, and we'll call this row post. And this post will be, we'll do text view. We'll give it an ID of first name, or first name. And then we'll set some default text. Will be default text. So if we view this, that's what it looks like, and I'm just switching between tab and design view at the bottom there with the keyboard shortcut, so that's nice. Let's go back to post adapter. Okay, so we have some more work to do here. The easiest thing to do is probably going to be get item count. So all we need to do is return posts.size, and that'll get the size of this post, which we're passing in right there. So we set up our posts there, we generate 100 posts, and then we pass it here to the post adapter. If I command click on that, we accept it there, and we're going to use it there, and we're going to use it in a couple of other places also. So that method is completely done. So we're done with that. Let's go ahead and do the next part. Let's go ahead and do, let's just fix this. Let's do view holder. There we go. And this one, let's see. Let's go ahead and do this. Let's do val view, and in Java you might be used to something like private view. That's not how it works here. In Kotlin it works. First you have the val keyword or var keyword, but we'll stick with val for now. Then you have the name of it, so view, and that's the type. You have the type at the end, so the data type that it is. So this is how it works. Equals layout inflator dot from, and then we'll pass in our parent dot context. So we're getting the parent from up there. That's where we're getting our parent, and we're using it right there to get the context. So now let's do inflate. We'll do r.layout dot, and then the name of the layout we just created, which is called row post. So row posts, and I think we need to pass in the parent. Then false. You also notice that you do not need semicolons at the end of lines. So the semicolon there is not needed. You can just get rid of the semicolon. You do not need it. Oh, and the return type. So this is going to return. First let's do this. Let's do returns view holder view. So we're getting the view there, and we're passing it into our view holder, which is right there. So this needs to return a view holder, and we'll just do it like that. So this will get us down there. Okay, cool. A couple more things we need to do for it to work. We need to get rid of the question mark there, because the question mark means that it can be, we just don't need the question mark there. So we're still not done. Let's go ahead and see, let's do this. Okay, so the whole point of this right here, what we're doing right now, is we need to get reference to, I'm going to do a command B, we need to get reference to the ID here, and we'll rename this first name. So let's go back to here, we'll do val first name. That's going to be a text view, and we know that because when we created it, text view right there, that's what it is. So if it were an image view, we do that, but it's a text view in this case, so that's what we use, text view. Then equals, then we'll use our item view right there. So our item view, we'll do item view dot find view by ID, r.id, and then what's the ID? We can look here and say, yeah, the ID is first name. Okay, so first name. So there we are, cool. Now the last thing we have to do is come up here and go, we have access to this holder. So we'll do holder dot first name, and that's going down here. It's using that first name, and that first name are the same. First name dot text equals, and then here we can put anything, but we can put we'll put Justin Bieber. So the text can be anything really. So I'm going to go ahead and save that, and I'm going to run it. And I'm just using the keyboard shortcut Control-R to run it. And this might crash. I'm not even sure if it will run. But if it does, we might have a bunch of empty space. And we do. So we have Justin Bieber there, but you have to scroll all the way up, and then there's another Justin Bieber. So what's going on is this post, so I'm going to switch to the design view there. And this post, even though it just takes up a little bit of screen space, it's using all that screen space. So I'm going to select that, do Command B. We need to change the height. We're using coordinator, the constraint layout. We need to change the height of that to wrap. So we can save it. I'm going to hit the lightning bolt. And if I go back over to here, there's Justin Bieber. So that's cool. But we actually want to use the post that we're generating right there. So instead of doing that, let's do this. We have access to posts here. So let's do posts. Then we can use that. Then we can use our position right there. So our position, we'll use that. Position dot, and just that because it's a string. So I'm going to go ahead and run that. And you can see, let's see, I'm going to close that and go back to it that way. So you can see here are all our posts. So that's nice, but that's not exactly what we want. So I'm going to open up Chrome and search for Android CardView, and we're going to just click on this result, and if we scroll down to the bottom, you'll see there's a dependency for CardView. So I'm just going to copy that, and we're done with Android Studio, or we're done with Chrome now, and I'm in Android mode there. Oops, I'm in Android mode. I'm going to go to Gradle scripts and do the module app one. So I can go down there and paste that in. I'm going to, instead of compile its implementation, save that. And you notice we're getting an error. That's because we have our compile SDK version to 26. So I'm going to change the first number from 21 to 26. And it's still being highlighted for us. So let's go ahead and change it to 26.1.0. 1.0. And now it gets rid of the highlighting. I'm going to go ahead and click sync now, and that'll actually pull in all the code that we need to use CardView for this. You'll see what CardView is in just a second. So instead of constraint layout, let's do this. Let's do CardView. Okay, cool. And instead of match, we'll do 100 dp, and we'll do 100 dp there. And we're going to give it some margin. We'll give it 12 dp is good. So if I go ahead and view that, you'll see now we have a little box there. So that's kind of what we want. Actually, we'll make the height 200 dp. So now we have, that's more kind of like all right, let's do a little bit less. Let's do this. Let's do 120. See how that looks. So that could be like in Google Play, in the Google Play Store app, where they have like books and movies and stuff. They're kind of shaped kind of like that. So that's good. So I'm going to go ahead and run it with that button right there, or Control R. I'm going to go back to the emulator, and we should see this pull up in just a second here. So cool. Now that's scrolling vertically, but if you notice in the other app, we're scrolling left and right. So how does that work exactly? So there's one thing we need to change. So instead of just this there, what we're going to do is we're going to do OrientationHelper.HORIZONTAL. Then we'll do false there. So save it, and you can either press the run button there or do Control R on your keyboard. That'll run it, and this opens up Android in the emulator or on your physical device. And look, there we go. Here's our posts. They go left to right. So that's, oh, and that's kind of a full with, here, let's do something. Let's come down to ContentMain, and this is where we have our RecyclerView. So this is our list there, and instead of height of 0 dp, I'm going to make that wrap. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of this. I'm going to get rid of the bottom to bottom of parent. So I'm going to get rid of that. And if we go ahead and run that with Control R, or with the icon right there, you can see that. So now it just affects just this top part. So you can see the gray, you can see the highlight right there when I pull it over. So just for fun, I'm going to add another one in. So I'm going to copy, actually first let's do this. Let's go to our ContentMain, and I'm going to duplicate that another time. We'll call this books. So we give it a different ID. That one's RecyclerView, this one's books, and this one we're going to change something. So instead of top to top of parent, we want the top of this to be to the bottom of this RecyclerView right there. So let me just change the background color to number, I'll do. So you can see now, if I go back, you can see it, it takes up the top part. So let's get rid of the top to top of. I'm going to get rid of that, and I'm going to go top to bottom of, and we'll make it to the RecyclerView up there. So now if I view this, so now we have one RecyclerView up here, and then another RecyclerView down there. So now I'm going to get rid of this red background color that we don't need anymore. I'm going to switch to the, so let's go ahead and run this. And if we run this, you'll see that it doesn't actually do anything yet. And that's because we haven't set it up inside our main Kotlin file. So just for now, just to show you a quick and easy way to add multiple RecyclerViews, we're going to use a lot of the same logic. So we're going to use a lot of, this is all going to stay the same. What we're gonna change those, we're gonna change this to, I think, books. Yeah, books. So let's go ahead and run that. You can either do that, or you can do the keyboard shortcut, which is Control R. And let's see. So here's one RecyclerView, and there's another RecyclerView. So you can have multiple RecyclerViews, and you could pass it different data. So say this data is for, so say this is for movies. I can create a completely different set. I can get rid of that, and I can do this, and this can be books. So we'll do this, and I'm doing, yeah, so wait, what books, that messed something up. Oh, we already have books for that. Sorry, we can't use books. Let's do, we'll call this best book. Well, that's bad practice. We'll do books list. We'll call that books list. Okay, so now we can pass in books. Let's see. And also, instead of post, we'll call this book. So there we go. So now I'm going to go ahead and run this in Android Studio, and this might actually work. I don't know. We'll just see. Okay, so now we have books. So up here we have posts, but down here we have books. So 4, 5, and this goes all the way up to 100. So we're at book number 64. Now we're at book 100, and it's at 100 because of that right there. So this is a quick way to make horizontal recycler views inside of Android Studio. Instead of just that right there, we add orientation.horizontal and false there, and that is how you make a horizontal recycler view inside Android Studio 3.0 using Kotlin, Constraint Layout, and CardView. Hope you learned something.